Mm, 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 mm. Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, 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 welcome. I just decided to jump on live, but I actually have nothing planned that I want to say. I guess I'm just gonna go with the flow of things, you know? Let me just put a shawl on because I do feel kind of chilly. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, nice and warm we are. All I can smell is like these flowers that I have, and they smell really good, but they're kind of rotting, I guess. Welcome, 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 welcome. Like I said, I have nothing in particular planned. I just felt like I wanted to go on live, and to be honest, it kind of reminds me of the book that I'm reading. I'm reading Robert Adams' Silence of the Heart. So, Silence of the Heart is let's just sort this hair out first. Silence of the Heart is not written by Robert Adams because he decided not to write anything, but it is dialogues of what he has. Is this like, are we feeling this? I don't know. But yeah, it's just things that he had said, you know, dialogues that he had had that someone decided to write down, which I'm super super grateful for, and I feel like they've definitely had such are having such a huge impact on the way I see things and hi, and you know, the way that I am seeing life, because I don't know, it's where what you from? Where am I from? I'm from England. But yeah, it's having a huge impact on my life. It just makes me feel more at ease, and it just makes everything make more sense. I was sitting at the Godwara today, right? It's a Sunday, so Sunday service. And, you know, they were talking about people surrendering to God. You know, there's this particular Shabad. Dir beso harjan pyare satgur tumre kaj savare. And I just love it. I don't know. I had heard it one of the days when I'd gone to the Gurdwara, and they were doing Kirtan, and I don't know any Shabads, okay? So I was listening to it, and yeah, I heard it and I just really loved it. And I happened to find it when I got back home on YouTube, and I remember listening to it, and then simultaneously I had been learning about Ananda Mamai, which is a lady that I talk about frequently, who's a very enlightened woman. Let me show you a picture of her actually. She, you know, this is why it's so important to um see people who are enlightened, okay? You know, the way someone looks, the way like the how you feel when you see them, and then the my mom, that's it. Like this lady. Oh, thank you, Greg. How are you? Good to see you. I'm actually doing really good. It's weird because so obviously at different parts of your menstrual cycle, you look different, right? Um, so they say that a woman who's ovulating looks the most attractive, and when you're in your period, you actually don't look that attractive. It was an experiment they did on these strippers. So how many men were attracted to the strippers based on different times of their menstrual cycle. And yeah, like I said, when they were ovulating, they found that men were more attracted to them, whereas when they were on their period, it was less. I'm currently on my period, right? And today I was just like, Priya, you look good, girl. And you're on your period. How is this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But yeah, okay. Hi, Sampada. How are you? Look, this is Ananda Mamai. Thank you, Greg, for showing me her. But this is what an enlightened being looks like. Okay, this. Oh yeah, I feel like. Let me turn that around. Is this? Tell me it's not. Um, let me get a. you know, there was just such a. I remember Greg telling me about her first, and then he was saying how, you know, when he saw her, he really like felt an energy from her. And look, this is her with Paramahansa Yogananda. This is her. So these both are enlightened beings. I would just say, you know what, just take a look at these photos, okay? Oops. Yeah, like how do they make you feel? You can see her aura in the phone in her photos, right? And yeah, so I had been listening to that shabad, Dil Kar Beso Harjan Pyare, which means, let me get it up. It means something like, he did explain it. Hang on. Of Dil Kar Beso Harjan Beso. Am I even spelling it? Beso? I struggle, okay, I'm not gonna say I struggle to spell Punjabi romanized. Yogananda. I'm reading his autobiography at the moment. Yogananda, I know. How's it going? I was trying to get into it, but it was a while ago, to be honest, and I just couldn't get into it. You know, I realized that happens sometimes when something is not meant for you at that time. You probably just won't be able to get into it, and then there'll be a time where it's like, yes, this is the right time for you to kind of go more into this. Okay, so the Shabad. So this is from Sikhism, right? So Dil Kar Beso Harjan Pyare is remain steady in the home of your own self, a beloved servant of the Lord. Gar means home. You know, the whole Shabad, please. The whole Shabad, please. That Valley Girl accent is amazing. Valley Girl accent? Wow. Thank you. Please support Kriya. Kriya? I don't know who that is. I don't know what that is. Okay. So remain steady in your home, O beloved servant of the Lord. The true Guru has resolved your affairs. The Supreme Lord has destroyed the evil and wicked forces. The Creator has preserved the honor of his servant. So, you know, this is something that they say that if you are feeling stressed, that you should sing or repeat, because of course it has certain vibrations and it has a certain meaning, right? And certain different things that we listen to have different effects on us. For example, there's you know, it's known that if you repeat negative words, so words with a lot of negativity like anger and violence and destroy and all of these words, right? It has an effect on your nervous system. It has an effect, hi Pratham, it has an effect on how you feel, and loads of other things. So when you repeat words that are very imbued with love and high vibration, then it has a, you know, a similar impact on you, right? It makes you feel a different type of way. So as I was saying, thank you, Mr. Mac. When people repeat this Shabad, so they can usually do it if they're stressed, if things aren't going their way. So Kaj Savare is like God is going to sorry, I was just distracted by what Pratham said. Today background is similar to your dress. Is it? Is it? Okay. If you say so. Hi, Latrix. But yeah, so people would be told to repeat this Shabad, right, if they were feeling stressed. And it was really interesting to me because learning what I've learned from Robert, right? Robert talks about how, okay, so there are two ways of seeing the world, okay? So there is a way of seeing the world where you see everything as Maya, which is an illusion, right? So, you know, people, places, things, all of these things would be considered Maya, right? So we can say everything is Maya. I am Maya, you're Maya, the phone is Maya. Everything that is matter would be considered Maya. So you can look at the world through that lens, or you can look at the world as if it is an extension of the self. And can you see how these two different ways of looking at the world will impact you in different ways? Because I used to do that, right? Because of course, these two things can exist simultaneously, right? So of course, we can understand that it is Maya. Everything you see around you, the physical world, is full of Maya. So it's not real. It's an illusion. The universe is an optical illusion. But if we go too deeply into that, then it can render things meaningless, right? Because I found myself saying, oh, that's just Maya, you know, and it can kind of encourage a sense of carelessness, like that sort of attitude. But when you look at everything as an extension of yourself, you feel differently. So I read this. He said, you know, look at everyone as if they are an extension of yourself. And I was like, geez, okay. So then I thought about my siblings and my family. And I thought, okay, what's the difference if I look at them as separate to me? And then what's the difference if I look at them as if they are just an extension of me? And it was interesting because when I thought of them as an extension of me, I felt more love towards them, which sounds weird and crazy, but I was like, that's me. You know, that's me. So you feel differently because if it's like that is me, like we are one, it's different to, oh, this is me and that's you. This is me and that's you. This is me and that's that thing. Does that make sense? Osho describes it as we're just pitching a tent for a short while in this illusionary world. Yes, that is literally it, you know, we are. And even further than that, you know, we are nothingness. We are just a dream being dreamed. That is it. Do I know Osho? I do know Bhagwan Rajneesh. Yes. Why do you ask, Vishal? The way you speak, as long even I never wrote that long answer for 10 more questions. Thank you, Pratham. You know, it's a thing that I feel like it's been one of my talents. When in like in exams and stuff, I could just write a lot. And I don't know. It's really interesting because I generally thought, Priya, you haven't really got anything planned for today. Usually I have some sort of notes for my lives or I've read something and I was like, I have been reading Robert Adams. Then I thought, oh, you've spoken about him before, like how can we go deeper? But I feel like there's always different ways to go deeper with different things, you know, and I'm just like Robert does, he just turned up to this talk and he just allowed things to flow through him. You know, I guess I'm just living proof that you don't have to plan things and just let things be. Okay. You're very beautiful and your accent is very good. Thank you so much. I received that. Yeah, we are a dream. We are indeed. Hi, Manavalan. Manavalan. Let me know if I said that correctly or not. Okay. So, hey, where am I from? I'm from England. But if we see the world, we are an illusion, then why would we keep morals? You know, since in reality, nothing will be affected. Latrix, thank you so much for asking that question. So, as I was saying, and Nashkabandi, the topic will be what I'm about to say. So, my name is Priya. So, there are two ways of looking at the world, okay? According to Robert Adams. There is looking at the world as if it's Maya, as if it's an illusion, okay? Of course, then you're right. You would look at the world and think, okay, it's an illusion. It's not really real. Why do I have to be moral? Why do I have to be loving? Why should I be kind? But the second way of looking at the world is looking at the world and seeing it as an extension of yourself. Like I just said, when I heard this, right, when I read this, and Robert said, see the world as an extension of yourself, then I thought about my family. I thought about my siblings, and I thought, okay, I thought about them as separate from me, right, as a part of Maya. And I felt detachment towards them. I didn't feel that love and that warmth as much as I did when I thought of them as an extension of myself. Does that make sense? Because we love ourselves, you know? I know sometimes we treat ourselves like crap, but we do like ourselves to some extent, you know? So if I see someone, let's say I see my sister, my twin sister, and I'm like, okay, that she's not separate from me, she's just an extension of me, then I would treat her differently. I wouldn't treat her like crap because that's me. Does that make sense? So that's why you do it, because everything is an extension of you. It sounds selfish, but it is what it is. Okay, let me get to the comments. Where am I from England. Indian philosophy says same. We are all born from one Prakriti Brahma. Yes, exactly. My WhatsApp name is Priya. Every time I come on your live, my phone's battery start drain faster now. It's below 10%. Oh no, Pratham. Who is Aruna on your tattoo? That's cute. No, it doesn't say. What language are you reading? Aruna? No. It says Nirpa, which is Punjabi. It's Gurmukhi. That's not Aruna. I guess it's Priya Punjabi language. No, I wouldn't get Priya tattooed on me. That's the way to look at the world after breakup. Interesting. Then thank you for clarifying that, Greg. Then are all people an extension of myself? So if I see you, if I see Donald Trump, e.g. an extension of me, then I don't know how to feel about that, you know. Okay, yeah, it's interesting that you say that, but yes, that's the truth. Donald Trump is an extension of you. Donald Trump, because, okay, you understand that life is an illusion, first of all, right? It's an illusion because you think everything is separate from you, but it's not. Hence why I say it's important to understand that it is an extension of you. It's not separate from you. So Donald Trump is you. And I know it feels weird. Of course you're going to feel weird because when I look at some people, sometimes, of course, I'm not perfect. I'm not like the holy woman or anything like that. So yeah, I have thoughts of like, oh, I don't like what you just said. Like, for example, today at the Gurdwara, there was a new Granthi. So a Granthi is someone who works at the Gurdwara who like speaks, reads part, does kirtan and stuff like that. And then he was saying how, okay, so Sikhs don't tend to eat meat, okay? So if you have an Amrit, if you've taken Amrit, which means that you have taken a Sikh baptism of some sort, right? It means that you cover your head. It means that, you don't eat meat, you don't eat egg. It's a very kind of strict rules that you have to follow. So Sikhs, at the Gurdwara, especially, you don't get non-vegetarian food, right? You get vegetarian food only, and of course they don't drink alcohol. So there were certain Granthis who used to work there when this guy also worked there. So this guy had been at this Gurdwara right before, but he'd left. So he came back and he decided to make a point during Kirtan that I thank you all for welcoming me here. Thank you for your blessings. I want to ask for your blessings more because I want to make it clear that I was not that person who was making me. I have never eaten meat or drank alcohol in my life, okay? And of course, these people, the Granthis who used to work there, they came in and they cooked me in the Gurdwara, which is obviously not okay. I get that. I completely get that. But I don't know. I remember having thoughts of, I feel like, I was like, that's his spiritual ego coming out there. Like he's sitting there like, yeah, I didn't do that. That wasn't me. I'm like this. My dad was like this. And these are just my observations of myself, okay? These are the thoughts that are coming out, right? And I remember thinking, whoa, like, yeah, I'm making observations on him. Like, yeah, that's his spiritual ego. Look at him, he's putting himself holier than thou because I don't want to judge those people that did that. Yeah, they did that, but it's not the be all end all kind of thing, I hope you're all following. So what I realized afterwards, ultimately, I was like, I am a reflection of this person right here who I am saying has a spiritual ego, because I have a spiritual ego. I know I do. And the thing is, you don't even realize how much of a spiritual ego you have until you sit and just meditate or just sit with yourself and you listen to yourself. We can only think that they are two humans and do mistakes, hope to empathize, but at the same time we should acknowledge every action has consequences, even though we are on the matrix, let's say. Yes, of course. Yeah, Greg, see? But isn't it also your own spiritual ego coming out, judging him for having his spiritual ego? Exactly. That is literally it. that's exactly the point I came to. You know, anything that I repeated after oh, you know, he has a spiritual ego. I'm, you know, like, or I was aware of having thoughts like, oh, I'm not the type of person to do that. I'm not the type of person to do that. I'm not the type of person to do this. Does that make sense? We are hypocrites. I'm a hypocrite, okay? I called him out for his spiritual ego, yeah, I have one, you know? And the more you can sit with yourself with awareness, the more you realize how much of a hypocrite you are. You know, it was interesting. Do you know people develop the ego of that they are nicer to other people? I get that. That's why there is मिटा दी अपनी हस्ती को मिटा दे अपनी हस्ती को अगर कुछ मर्तबा चाहिए कि दाना gosh, I'm gonna try my best to read this. कि दाना खाक में मिलकर गुलजार बनता है. I don't understand what that means. So you are also telling me Hitler was me. Oh no, what have I done? But in a sense, I'm saying yes, there's people we could look at, but be like, yes, I'm similar to him, but there's something that's sometimes too far. Okay, look, Latrix, I'm not saying that. I get what you're saying. You know, you now you're gonna think of every single awful person who's done really bad and think, oh my god, does that mean that I am that person? But look, what you need to understand is, who are you, right? Who's Latrix, right? Not like, okay, let's take your name for example. I know it's not Latrix, right? But it is not your personal story that I am saying, okay? I'm not referring to your personal story. So you have a name, you have an age, you have an ethnicity, you have all of these things, right? I'm not referring to that. I'm not saying, because that's what you'll liken it to. Oh no, I am like Hitler. Oh no, I am you know, Donald Trump. Does that mean that we're both the same? The personal small self, okay? That's what you're referring to. Because there's a big self. Let me draw this out, okay? A second. Okay. Okay, so for the sake of visualizing it, right? This is a small self, so S is that way, so okay. That is a small self. Okay, whoops. Okay, this is the big self. This is consciousness. Okay, sorry. I don't know why my screen is so. Anyway. I feel like I've forgotten how to spell consciousness now. Pretend that it says consciousness, okay? Okay, it's N, isn't it? Okay, it's because I'm writing backwards. Consciousness. Okay. Look, this is a small self, right? This would be Priya. This is Priya. She's 28. She's a life coach. She's on YouTube Live right now. She's feeling good. She's holding a pen. She's holding a whiteboard, right? That's me. This is the big self, okay? This is your consciousness. This is the ultimate truth of who you are. So you believe that you are this small person, right? You believe that you are this character. But you need to realize that the truth is, an awakening means to understand and see yourself as consciousness, not as this small character. Does that make sense? So this small person, this small story is not Trump. This consciousness is Trump. Consciousness is all there is. So consciousness is Trump. It's Hitler. It's me. It's you. It's everybody, okay? The poetry means we have to annihilate our false ego in this poetry that I wrote. Dana means cock, so we have to try and bury our ego, or me, number one, I am better, etc. like that. See when it gets annihilated in. Yes, for sure, because it is the ego that stands, right? This is the ego. The small self is the ego, right? And then that stands in between you being one with your consciousness, being one with the absolute reality that exists. We are all born from one, so Hitler, Trump, you and me are all part of the one. Yes, exactly, Sampada. The soul then fruit flowers come. Love that consciousness. Hi. But Didi, is it okay to let things and experiences come to you instead of dragging them towards you? Of course, of course. Float, don't swim. There is an intelligence far, far greater than you that is in control. You are not in control. You will never be in control. You pretending or trying to have any sort of control over life is you wasting your energy, frankly. Float, okay? Float. There's a natural current of energy that is flowing, right? Events are flowing. And that is not to say that you are stationary. You'll never be stationary, okay? You can never just be stationary. You're always moving. So, move with the flow of life, right? Let's say you're on a river. You want to be in the river. You don't want to be like paddling, oh my God, I want to go against the stream. I want to swim against the current. No, just go with the current. Let go and just flow with life. That's it. You don't have to make things happen, but that's not to say, like I said, that you hold on still and you're like, I'm just going to sit in front of the TV and do nothing. No, life gives you a sign and you feel it, right? You feel this voice from inside of you saying, do it, do it. And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make logical sense. But your gut is saying, you know, your intuition is like, just do this, just do this. And then just do it. And just follow it. It doesn't have to make sense. Okay. Dana is a seed. Sorry for that. Kak is mitti soil. Oh, okay. I've never Dana. I should have known, to be honest. Dana, yes. Kak, I've not heard before. So thank you for clarifying. So, are you saying if I let my guard down, I lost myself completely, so I can find myself? Yes, yes. Because, okay, let's break that sentence down. Okay, so you are saying if I let my guard down, right? Who is this I that has the guard up? It is the mind that has the guard up, right? So if you let that mind, that guard down of the mind that the mind has created, the defenses the mind has created, and you lose yourself, as in the small self, that is what you are referring to. You can never lose the big self, right? When you lose the small self, you find yourself, which is here, the big self, the big infinite self, the consciousness, the Brahman, right? That's what happens. Let me just put that in there. So this is ego and this is Brahman. Okay? Brahman, small ego self, yes? Okay. To find you have to be, yeah. So what about aspirations? Shouldn't we pursue them? Pursuing means trying, so how does that work? Okay, so with aspirations, right? It's a good question, Sampada. You know, I feel like there are two ways about this, okay? You can have dreams, right? You can have certain goals, but it's all a part of Maya, right? It's like, to some extent, we have to consider the Maya. And I think if you can just make life about awakening to your truth and embodying that truth, the rest will take care of itself. I think maybe it's because we feel like, oh, we have to have aspirations to make life meaningful. But think about it this way. When you awaken, you realize that everything is you. So you are going to be an awesome person, okay? You are going to be kind, loving, compassionate, giving, right? And then you'll allow natural things to flow through you. You'll allow creativity to flow through you because the creative forces, right? Life is flowing through you. It is creation itself. So you'd be doing things, but you're not like, okay, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this. It will just flow out of you. Does that make sense? You just have to learn to relinquish control. And that is hard for people because we're not used to that. Am I going to read the big book now? Which big book? How to distinguish between ego voice and higher self. Okay. How to distinguish between ego. Okay, so let me get it. There's on Pinterest they have really good like ways of distinguishing the two, and I can get it up because there are loads of things that I probably can't remember off by heart. Okay, ego versus higher self. Let's do it. And you do really good to hang this up somewhere, to write it down, maybe to hang it up. Okay, so the ego versus the soul. Okay, the ego seeks to serve itself. The soul seeks to serve others. The ego seeks outward recognition. The soul seeks inner authenticity. The ego sees life as a competition. The soul sees life as a gift. The ego seeks to preserve the self. The soul seeks to preserve others. The ego looks outwards. The soul looks inward. The ego feels lack. The ego is mortal. The ego is drawn to lust. The ego seeks wisdom. The soul is wisdom. The soul is drawn to love. The soul is eternal. The soul feels abundance. The ego enjoys the prize. The soul enjoys the journey. The ego is cause to pain. The soul is cause of healing. The ego rejects God. Soul embraces God. The ego seeks to be filled. The soul is eternally wholeness, sorry. The ego is me. The soul is we. So the voice will always be something that is loving and kind and compassionate to the self and to others. Or is an other word? Okay. Simple. Okay, and then what you have just asked becomes very tricky to navigate. I guess it's the case of keeping one foot in the illusion world and one foot in the spiritual. Yeah. Kak, ashes, kak. Am I pronouncing it right when I say kak? Ashes, gak. Are you saying gak? Gak, like turning to nothing. Gakani, like nothing. That's it. That's my tea, gak. Okay. Do you know what I like about hypocrites? That we talk to same person with warmth to whom we had an argument if they had a point. That's true. The more I just get to know who I am, like the small self, the self that is a hypocrite, the ego self, the funnier it is. And the less you judge people, okay? Because like I said, I judged that man today, right? I had judgmental thoughts came up, right, about him. You have a spiritual ego. And so do you, Priya. Priya, not Priya, like the small Priya, right? Not Priya, like not consciousness, but Priya. And that is not who I am. I'm not Priya. That is not my absolute truth. Does that make sense? Mulana Rumi, peace be on him. Brain is like, we can say, shepherd, and the soul is the sheep. Herd and the jackal animal who's trying to eat him is ego false ego. Okay, I love that. I love Rumi. So the brain is the shepherd. The soul is like the sheep. And the herd of okay. The jackal or the animal who's trying to eat them is the ego. Wow. Ego is not I am nothing. It is important. I want to do something. Priya is I think that we love or beloved. Is that the meaning? Yes, Priya means beloved. Yes. So yeah, this whole ego versus soul versus higher self thing is something that okay, bye Vishal. So good to see you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, it's a great way to kind of monitor how you're being. But also self-inquiry. If you can take self-inquiry and then you can take something like having a meditative practice, then the two work hand in hand, then you can kind of destroy the mind. The mind will destroy itself through self-inquiry. VJ, finally you are live again, very much. I know, it's been a while. I'm here now. There are different types of ego that I will say false ego. It has different levels. Yes, the ego has different levels. So this is what Robert was talking about. He said, for example, I would go around, right? I would go around and say, oh, I am God, I am God, I am God to people, right? Like that, because I understand what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say I am God, and the I that I'm referring to is the I that is founded in consciousness, not the small self, not Priya. Priya is not God, okay? But God as in like who I am, the ultimate truth, pure consciousness itself. But what Robert said was that the mind loves this. The mind loves when you go around and you say, I am God, I am consciousness, I am this, because it adds to it, right? It makes it feel more grandiose. It's like, yes, I am God, because it's a part of the mind. So you're not to do that. But what you are meant to do is ask the mind, who are you? Who is this I? Who is this I that you keep going on about? Who, every sentence that comes after I, think about it. You wake up, I am happy, I am sad, I want to do this, I need to do that, I need to feed the cats, I need to feed the dog, I need to go do this. I have this work to do, I have to send this to someone, I have to take this call. Right? That's all we're concerned about all the time. I. But this I isn't you. I'm going to elaborate this. It is a little bit ego. Ego is okay. You're welcome to elaborate. Let me get the notes up. I love having made notes on books that I'm reading, especially with the work that I do. It just makes it easier to kind of go back and you know, teach others. And when I'm teaching others, I really test how much I know myself. Okay. Okay, so one thing that I feel like kind of circles back, what am I reading right now? I'm just reading the notes that I've made from The Silence of the Heart. Guys, I would really recommend this book. This is such an awesome book. It is what I am talking about. Oh, okay, let me just find on Google maybe the picture of it. Silence of the Heart. Book. Yes. Okay. Okay. You can't really see it though, can you? Sorry. It's called Silence of the Heart. Okay, so I'm reading the notes that I have made on that. So I think something, it was one of the questions, no, it was someone else that asked, right, about why would I have morals if I see everything as an illusion? Well, this is the thing. You would become when you don't see that life is an illusion, you're very passionate about life. You're you know, you're going out there, you're fighting for your rights, you're fighting for people's lives, you're fighting for world peace, right? You're passionate about the world. But Robert said you must become dispassionate towards the towards the world, but passionate for the self. And the self is you, who you really are, but then also you need to understand that the self is everything. So it is not passionate about the wrong things. It's not passionate about Maya, about the illusion of things, right? It's about being passionate through the self. So if I have a lover, I see the lover as the self. So I love my lover as if I'm loving myself. You know, like, it's easy to treat people like crap because I'm like, oh, that's you and this is me, right? That's you, this is me. I can treat you like crap. It doesn't affect me. But if I'm like, okay, wait, you're actually just me, why am I going to treat you like crap? Does that make sense? Okay. Bandi. Okay, first ego. When we have lost about anything, sex, money, greed, power, etc. Second one is the ego when we reach that level where there is a voice from inside that we have done something wrong, etc. Okay. Third one is like when we're at peace, the ultimate level. Interesting. So there's an ego that exists at the ultimate level. It has many old branches, but there's three of the main ones. Okay. Okay, I looked up Silence of the Heart and Waterstones yesterday. They didn't have it, but it turns out Osho has a book with the same title. No way! That's cool. Yeah, Greg, honestly, Waterstones is probably very limited in that sense. They tend to have very kind of mainstream books I find. I just downloaded this online. Let me know if you want me to send you the link for it or anything. I mean, or you could just Google it, and like I found loads of versions online that you can just buy. But yeah, Waterstones is probably not the best bet, you know? Yeah, like AbeBooks, World of Books, Amazon has it, eBay. What is the ones of one but two is the what? I'm not sure what that means. What is these one of one but two is moment? What is the ego? I would say the ego consists of the mind, you know, it's the thoughts, all thoughts. But calling that 3 stages of ego is wrong. The second one is your consciousness saying that what we've done is wrong, not the second stage of ego. I love you too. Okay. So what Robert says is that you need to kind of move past the body and the mind. And then when you remove, you know, when you can go and transcend the body and the mind, then you find who you truly are. Oh wow, Greg, that's interesting. Yeah, I've never heard about a peaceful ego either. Huh. But it's also, what is real? You know, what do we even define as real? How do we know something is real? I told you, life is trippy. Life is so trippy. These people changed a lot through this language. Many of them tried. That's why we have to reach the root word. It is all defined. Oh, I love that. Are you into that? Like the etymology of things? Yeah, I mean, especially English language, right? English language is the language of spell casting. I think what is actually happening is that the bliss state is real, but the ego likes to take credit for it afterwards. Wow. Yeah, because Greg, surely the ego doesn't even feel bliss, right? The ego is constantly in a state of panic mode and survival, right? It thrives on that. But I get how it would get you like that as well. Why would we abuse darkness? It has its work. Yes, of course. The universe is darkness, you know, it is nothingness. And darkness is also alluded to the divine feminine, right? She's the void, the womb of the universe, so to speak. So to have the third or fourth stage of ego, you have to go through the first stage. Why have an ego to begin with? Why not exist as a humble being? See, Latrix, it's not an ego as in like being egotistical. It would be more so an ego is just who you are. So you're like your personality, this personal story that you have going on, that would be considered your ego. He gets changed into what you've seen show, snow becoming water. There is no nothingness or nothing. Interesting, VJ. There is no nothingness, huh? There is no thing. No thing exists. Because when you really zoom into everything, right? When we look at the atomic structure of things, like if I was to get a microscope and look into my hand or into your hand or into this phone, I would see the same thing. Hi, I'm very well, thank you. Blessed and highly favored. How are you? If I were to zoom into my hand or into anything, right, I would see the same thing. I would see atomic particles, then I would see subatomic particles, right? And then I would see energy waves, and then I would see space. I would see emptiness in everything. Me and this pen are the same. We are nothingness. There is space in both of us. So when you really think about it, no thing exists because the universe is not matter. It's not consisting of matter. we cannot think beyond matter. That's why we believe no thing exists, right? Are we already debating so seriously? Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Okay. I have read somewhere there is a part in the back of the brain where we have a sense of self. If it's damaged, we lose sense of self as entities. Do we still lose ego then? That person must be considered enlightened. Wow, Sampradha, that's pretty cool, actually. I didn't know that. It's a very cool concept. You know, I might have to research that. Let me write that down somewhere. Okay, so sense of self lost in accident. Are they enlightened? Because, okay, think about it this way, right? Your ego tells you your personal story. It tells you from memory and through language who you are. Who you are, right? Who this person is. The small ego, right? Priya. This age. This right? Yeah, so the ego tells you that. Wait, what was the point? Let's try to make. It's gone. I'm sure it'll come back. Enlightenment and to become mad by some disease or something is, you know, enlightened people are usually considered mad anyway by normal people, right? At the most zoomed in level, you would see quantum fields from which all prime particles arise. So, let me ask you, Greg, the quantum fields, what do they exist, like, what exists in them? Is there matter that exists within them, or is it just nothingness? Because it's potentials, right? Quantum fields exist with potentials. Like, for example, the observer effect, right? Like, if I'm looking, right now I'm looking this way, but I can't see what's behind me. Obviously, I can see through the camera, but anything could be behind me. It only exists when I look at it. It's the observer effect, right? And quantum fields are how science describes God. Maybe. Could be. Science and, like, would I even call it spiritual? Yeah, like, spirituality are meant to go hand in hand, you know? It's just particular scientists that have made an impact in this world. You have to look into them and look at what they did and was it right? Should we accept that? For example, Descartes, who was a scientist, I believe, he was the one that said that mysticism and science are two separate things, but in life everything is connected. How can science and mysticism be different? Okay. Hello, what is your name? My name is Priya. Are we really enlightened? Are we really enlightened? I guess not all of us are. There are many ways that it's going to sound confusing, you know. Some of us are. But the truth of who we really are is enlightened, right? Is the Big Bang Theory accurate? I don't know, I wasn't there. Like, Priya wasn't there. Somewhere within you, you know the truth. Nothingness. I told you earlier that they remember this one tree without roots and wasn't. You should be connected to your roots. That is basically we all know that. Okay, you know, in terms of nothingness, there was someone who asked his guru, he said, what, like, how are you saying that everything is nothingness? Look at everything, you know, everything exists. What do you mean? And then he said, go get a fig. Go get a fig from a fig tree. So the guy went and he got a fig from the fig tree. And then he said, open up the seed. And obviously the guy cut himself opening up the seed because the seed is so small. And then he said, look inside the seed. And inside the seed was nothing. So a fig comes from nothing. Just like we do. Because, like I said, nothingness is about matter, right? So we don't believe that anything exists beyond matter, but it does. But not in the way that we think of it. I get it. It's confusing. spirituality is outside of scientific reasoning. I don't believe it is. If you look at quantum physics, it's not. And quantum physics, quantum biology, quantum chemistry is where we're meant to be studying. Of course, yeah, of course there's a cross between quantum physics and spirituality. Greg, you know what I would really recommend? There's a platform called Gaia. They have loads of really cool documentaries that touch on this. They touch on quantum physics and using quantum physics to explain the nature of the world that is essentially what is explained through spirituality. That is what I actually used to watch when I was going through a spiritual awakening myself. Like, it just made sense. And sometimes it can be difficult to comprehend these things, you know. Let me find some, actually. Let me show you through Gaia, okay? Because like I said, it helped me a lot when I was going through my spiritual awakening. So yeah, look, let me just switch the camera. So this is Gaia. So yeah, like, what is consciousness? And it has a real way of explaining things from a scientific approach at times. You know, there are loads of things. There are things like cosmic disclosure, you know, about the divine feminine, interviews with extra dimensionals, which I freaking love. You know, where loads of things. Look, even Joe Dispenza, sacred geometry. So sacred geometry is what everything kind of consists of, like shapes and stuff. Loads of different things. I think that you would all really, really benefit from it. And at the moment, it's £1 to get it. So they have an offer on for £1. Spirituality is the master of all. These are all blessings. They are, Priya. You should have been there at the going to do. Latrix, like I said, I was there, but Priya wasn't there. You know, I was there. I was there. I was making it happen. Science can be quantified, whereas spirituality can't be. That's true. That's true. So maybe it's the science that's lacking. But I mean, in terms of quantum physics, like for example, the observer effect, right? They quantized that, and that explains loads of things. From nothing and become nothing. Alas, exactly. Oh my god, you know, it's really weird. Shall I share a really morbid thought I used to have? So I feel like I used to be a depressed child. I'm not gonna lie. Real talk. And I used to just have like I used to have like ideation about dying all the time. Like, I wish I was just dead. I wish I was just dead. And then I remember thinking, I really wish that I'd just die and I would just go into nothingness. Like, I don't even want to exist. I don't even want to be like in the afterlife. I don't want to be in heaven or hell. It was kind of like I knew that there was nothingness that existed because that's all I thought about. Like, I just want to go poof and just not be there anymore, you know? It was weird. Quantum physics is scientific reasoning only. Yet these subjects are there, so we can come close to spirituality. What is the observer effect? The observer effect is, let me get it up. I want to get it correct, okay? The observer effect is a fascinating concept that bridges quantum physics, metaphysics, and spirituality. It basically means the act of observing something changes the thing being observed. Let's break it down. Okay, so, sorry, let me just move my phone out of the way. Okay, so at the subatomic level, particles like electrons can exist in many possible states at once. This is called superposition. But when a scientist observes or measures that particle, it suddenly chooses one specific state, as if the act of observation collapses all potential realities into one outcome. Let me get it up, okay? Let me get a video up because I feel like I want you to see what it is, okay? Because it will make sense about what I said about not being able to know what actually exists behind me. No, let's watch this. Okay.
And here we are, ransacking a whole quantum weirdness. The infamous double slit experiment. To understand this experiment, we first need to see how particles, or little balls of matter, act. If we randomly shoot a small object, say a marble, at the screen, we see a pattern on the back wall where they went through the slit and hit. Now, if we add a second slit, we would expect to see a second band duplicated to the right. Now, let's look at waves. The waves hit the slit and radiate out, striking the back wall with the most intensity directly in line with the slit. The line of brightness on the back screen shows that intensity. This is similar to the line the marbles make. But when we add the second slit, something different happens. If the top of one wave meets the bottom of another wave, they cancel each other out. So now there is an interference pattern on the back wall. Places where the two tops meet are the highest intensity, the bright lines, and where they cancel, there is nothing. So when we throw things, that is matter, through two slits, we get this, two bands of hits. And with waves, we get an interference pattern of many bands. Good so far. Now, let's go quantum. An electron is a tiny, tiny bit of matter, like a tiny marble. Let's fire a stream through one slit. It behaves just like the marble, a single band. So, if we shoot these tiny bits through two slits, we should get, like the marbles, two bands. What? An interference pattern. We fired electrons, tiny bits of matter through. But we get a pattern like waves, not like little marbles. How? How could pieces of matter create an interference pattern like a wave? It doesn't make sense. But physicists are clever. They thought maybe those little balls are bouncing off each other and creating that pattern. So they decide to shoot electrons through one at a time. There is no way they can interfere with each other. But after an hour of this, the same interference pattern is seen to emerge. The conclusion is inescapable. The single electron leaves as a particle, becomes a wave of potentials, goes through both slits, and interferes with itself to hit the wall like a particle. But mathematically, it's even stranger. It goes through both slits, and it goes through neither. And it goes through just one, and it goes through just the other. All of these possibilities are in superposition with each other. But physicists were completely baffled by this. So they decided to peek and see which slit it actually goes through. They put a measuring device by one slit to see which one it went through and let it fly. But the quantum world is far more mysterious than they could have imagined. When they observed, the electron went back to behaving like a little marble. It produced a pattern of two bands, not an interference pattern of many. The very act of measuring or observing which slit it went through meant it only went through one, not both. The electron decided to act differently, as though it was aware it was being watched. And it was here that physicists stepped forever into the strange netherworld of quantum events. What is matter? Marbles or waves? And waves of what? And what does an observer have to do with any of this? The observer collapsed the wave function simply by observing.
Okay. I hope that made sense. Okay. Wait, they want an interview on an extraterrestrial being. Yep, they did. We are finding. Okay, sorry. Let me just. Priya, we like call that depression. Let's do the real talk. Priya, it was better to drink this, or we should have waited to have quantum physics. Or awake people better or asleep? Of course, awake people. I mean, okay, no one's better. Everybody's you anyway. But I mean, being awake is much easier, right? But what does that say about your previous lives, Priya? If you wanted to be nothing as a child, then you already knew the concept of nothingness, right? So it makes sense you would have a spiritual awakening as an adult. Wow, that's so true. Yeah, it was weird that I used to have these thoughts. I used to think they were really morbid, but maybe it just felt like I knew where I came from, like I guess you just said. Maybe I just repeated it, but yeah. Wow. I feel like I've forgotten a lot of my childhood a little bit. I don't know. Priya, how are you doing? What you say is very interesting. I'm blessed and highly favored. How are you? I feel like I'm watching a kid's educational video. Sometimes something being explained in a very childlike manner is the best, to understand, especially when you it's something new for you. What do you do? Throw some light on enlighten me. It's Copenhagen. But hi, Parth. Are you spiritually awake, Priya? That's interesting. Jeez, Vijay, you're coming out with really interesting questions, right? Am I spiritually awake? Well, it depends. Who's gonna answer? Is Priya's ego going to answer because she's gonna say, "Yeah, I'm so awake," or is who I truly am, pure consciousness, going to answer? Then of course, yeah, it'll be yes. So I guess both answers are yes. Are you spiritually awake? How do you maybe somebody is awake in their sleep too? How do you can be awake in your sleep? You can. Dream yogas, they help you become aware in your dreams. I've actually had an experience where I've been very aware in my dreams. So you could call it lucid dreaming, where you're actually aware and you're moving from your own self. So life is like a dream, right? I said life is like a dream. I could come and I could pinch you in your dream and say, "This is a dream, this is a dream." And you're like, "No, what? You just pinched me, it hurt." Then you could go across the road and you could get like hit by a car and then you could be injured. And I'll be like, "Don't worry, it's just a dream." And you're like, "What? No, it's not a dream. Look, I'm really here." And then you wake up and you're like, "Oh, it's just a dream." That's life. That's what life is like. Previous lives where your soul was present before arriving in this instance of Maya. Have I had sleep paralysis? Life is like a dream. I have sleep paralysis. I might be cooked. I haven't had sleep paralysis, no. Like Chanakya. I don't know what Chanakya. He's Chanakya. You're too funny. Thank you. Hi, good evening, Deepak. Thank you. Okay, elaborate more from your heart. But yeah, did the observer effect make sense? So I feel like, to be honest, I was getting a little bit confused when he was saying these things, but it's essentially saying that when there is an observer, things change. So matter, what you see right now, right? You think is matter. You're like, "Oh, there's a table, there's a book, look, it's matter," right? But if you're not witnessing it, if there's no one observing something, did it really exist? Like, for example, they have this whole thing of, if a tree falls in a forest and no one is there to see it or hear it, did it happen? And it didn't happen. When you can keep bringing back your awareness inwards, right? Don't forget, the ego wants to go outwards. The ego wants to think about the Big Bang Theory. The ego wants to think about these things, whatever it is, esoteric teachings, whatever. But if you can just drop all of that and just keep going inwards, just keep exploring inwards, keep exploring what's going on inside of you, then you'll hear the hypocrite like I did today, But yeah, everything is just within you. And now I'm not saying within your body, right? Because within your body, it's beyond your body, it's beyond your mind, it's your consciousness. And that's what you want to become to identify with. When you identify with that consciousness, you become identified with infinity. That is why they say everything is within you, because everything is within you, is within the consciousness of which you are. Like Acharya Chanakya was all aware while sleeping. Oh wow, okay. Observer effect is only in quantum realm. Are we separate from the quantum realm, Vijay? Do you think there's a being observing God? Yeah, we are. Hard to elaborate from the heart with a maximum of 200 characters. Next. What's the difference between conscious and consciousness? That's a really interesting question. Okay, if I were to answer that, I would say to be conscious is to be aware, and consciousness itself is the awareness. So maybe like a plural thing, but let's check, okay? I love these questions, everybody. And consciousness. Okay. Conscious, yeah, is the state of awareness, right? It's an adjective. It describes a state or quality of being aware. When you're conscious, you are aware of your surroundings, you're able to you're awake. You're able to perceive, think, feel, and respond. It's the active experience of awareness through mind and senses. For example, I am conscious of my breath. She became conscious after fainting. He is conscious of his emotions. Consciousness is the field, while being conscious is the momentary state within that field. Consciousness is the infinite field of awareness. It is not a state, it is the source of awareness. I love that you asked this question. Now I know too. Yeah, it is the underlying, unchanging field of awareness in which all experiences appear. Consciousness is the ocean. Being conscious is the wave in that ocean. Wow, I love that. Consciousness is what allows you to be aware of being aware. Wow. It's not the thoughts, emotions, or senses. It's the background presence behind them. That is what I talk about, you know. It's about becoming aware of the background presence behind you. That you know, is who you are. Okay, I need to put my phone on charge, but where am I gonna position it? Okay, it's a good job I have books. Okay, let's get like 10 books down now. Can we do this? Oh. Yeah, success. Yes. No, don't drop it. Okay, I'm not gonna be able to type anymore, that's for sure. Oops. Okay. Okay. There we go. Women always talk too much. No reason, no season. That's the way men get fooled. Interesting. Everything is within us, but how to achieve our full potential. You achieve your full potential by becoming awake. Be more aware of your truth, and that's how you achieve your full potential, you know? You're in touch with your full potential. I think even observer effect is only an imitation of science itself, not an actual truth of quantum reality itself. Interesting. Maybe. Are you trying to say becoming that slave queen? Okay, from the heart, I feel that I had a strong connection with the Indian subcontinent in previous life, which is why I feel so drawn to Indian and Eastern teachings now. Oh, so interesting. That makes sense, Greg. So, previous life, as in your soul never dies, right? In Indian Eastern teaching, I know I'm answering for Greg, but I'll just try. Maybe what Greg is, because obviously he has a limited. I just want to answer the question, okay? What he means is that in Indian and Eastern teachings, they believe in reincarnation, so that you keep coming back as a human being in different bodies, right? In different times to different parents, etc., etc. And then yeah, so you keep coming back and you have different lifetimes. So I in my past lifetime was probably, I don't know, I could have been anything, right? I could have been Mexican, I could have been Spanish, I could have been British, I could have been whatever, you know. I could have been a man, you know. So yeah, that should explain reincarnation a little bit. So there is evidence for reincarnation, and you can all access your past lives through hypnosis. So it's called past life regression. So there are books written on past life regression that you can read, that I actually read when I was having my spiritual awakening, that really, really helped me. It was called Many Lives, Many Masters. Don't rule anything out in life, okay? Everything is possible. If you don't think it is, then you're being very egotistical, because who are you to rule anything out in life? Who are you? You know, everything is possible. So yeah, read about past life regression. You can search it, you can watch videos, you can see people go through it. People, like, for example, it's not even through hypnosis. People, like children who were born, right? Children were able to speak a language from a different country when they had never been there. Their parents were not from there. They'd never seen anything about it on TV or learned it, but they would know and have knowledge about certain things. And then they would go, like, for example, there was this kid, I believe, he was going through this town, and he said, I died here, this happened here, my mom was like this. And then the parents were kind of like, what? And then they did some research and they realized that someone actually had died there. Does that make sense? So yeah, like anything, like Greg was saying, if you're attracted to anything, any particular time, any particular country, a particular background, things like that. Like, for example, if you're really into ancient Egypt or Atlantis or something like that, then it's because there's a past life memory from that. Does that make sense? I hope I did you justice, Greg. Ma'am, can you say JRCN? Are you trying to say criminals before? Yeah, there is. So yeah, like I said, there is solid evidence for it. But look, guys, there are testimonials from people, okay, from hypnosis and things like from their childhood and stuff like that. And then if we don't take that as evidence, I mean, in court, what do? They take people's testimonies, right? That's evidence, so it should be considered evidence. But I mean, it's up to you. Are you open to that kind of thing and believing it, or do you rule things out just because your ego wants to rule things out because it believes that it knows better? Latrix, nothing is stopping you from doing what you want in this world. Are you not doing what you want in this world anyway? Oh, being immoral. All right, okay. Well, okay, you probably have been reincarnated. What is stopping you from being immoral and doing what you want in this world right now? Oh my god, David Green, that's so funny. You know, I'm pretty sure I was an alien too. I love aliens, obsessed with them, and yeah, pretty sure. Can't it not just be a being possessing someone who shows the reincarnated and indefinite? Why are we not open to the idea of reincarnation? Guys, anything is possible. Anything. Which MBTI personality are you, Priya? Num num num. Is this a personality test? Let me get it up. Sorry. Okay. Okay, wait. Personality test. Let me just go on the types because I can't remember what it was. But if I go look them all up, I'll know. You know what? What do you guess? The Myers-Briggs one, yeah? Myers-Briggs. What do you guess what I am, and then I'll tell you. Okay, what's the personality types? Wait. It's really hard to do this because half my screen is just blocked. Okay, wait. Let me minimize you. Brava. Okay. No. Where were you? Where were you? The characters, that's what I'm looking for. Yes, you. Okay. Okay, I was definitely not a protagonist. I think I was Yes, okay, I know what I was. Okay, I was the protagonist. I am an ENFJ. Have I heard many stories but no concrete evidence by scientists? Okay, about reincarnation. Of course, scientists aren't going to buy into it. Well, actually, if a psychiatrist counts as someone who's a scientist because they went through the scientific process to become a psychiatrist, then read the book, Many Lives, Many Masters, by Dr. Brian Weiss. Thank you, Greg. I'm glad I did you justice. Oh, shit. Okay. Sorry, I just realized I'm behind in the comments. Okay. I can show you a lot of people that hadn't. Okay. You know, it's interesting that you guys don't believe in reincarnation, that you're questioning it, and I'd really like to know why. Like, what makes you think that it isn't possible? Like, what seems so impossible about it? Even impossible. The word impossible is I'm possible. My eyes are so familiar. Maybe it's because you knew me from a past life, Anthony. We have proof, guys. We have proof. Right? But yeah, why, like, just think about it this way. Of course you had experiences. I mean, we're talking about God, right? We were literally talking about pure consciousness. That is ultimate reality. And something like reincarnation is just a tiny, tiny little thing. Pure consciousness and infinite reality can be real, and we're good with that. But reincarnation is pushing it, you know? Interesting. People can't find what comes next second. How can they know about the past? They know about the past because, Deepak, everything is stored in your unconscious, okay? Your unconscious has the memory of the whole universe, right? Have you ever heard of Akashic Records? The Akashic Records is something that you can access where you can look at the history of your soul and everything that it's been through and every life that it's lived, okay? Just the thing is, I'm always like, you know, don't ever say something isn't real until you've gone into it and like really searched it up and everything, you know, like fully get into it. Be open-minded. Don't go into it with a particular agenda like, I want to disprove this. Be like, okay, I'm open to seeing what could be possible. So yeah, the unconscious stores all the information. So you can regress back to your mother's womb and see how you felt in there. You can regress back to a past lifetime, to other past lifetimes, to memories of everything, okay? The deeper you go inwards, the more that comes, you know, comes out for you. You know, Priya, when she was an alien, same eyes, but Christine. Yeah, it probably was. It is outside of our everyday understanding. See, VJ, that is why you have to expand your everyday understanding, right? Expand. I'm a Native American descendant in this life. It's possible. It is possible, of course it is. Wait, you're a Native American descendant in this life. So not in a past life, but this life. That's really cool. Listen to me when we were in the spiritual world, every human being, we got a lot of things from that. Am I open-minded? VJ, I don't know, you tell me. I don't know. I don't want to answer that because I feel like anything I say is just a reflection of me anyway, right? And I'm a hypocrite, so I'm probably not the best person to question. That's why I'm open to know your version of reincarnation. Okay, good. Yay! I'm glad you're loving it. All right, it's time for me to go, Priya. Stay safe until next time. Peace, peace. Thank you so much for being here. We can be born as a worm also, so why emphasis on human life only? Sampada, you just come out with gems, don't you? Yes, yes, we could be. Well, the thing is, think about it this way, right? We were literally just talking about, like I said, about consciousness, about being everything. That is who you truly are, right? Let me keep coming back to this. Guys, look, listen to me. Listen. This is who you are. This is your truth. Awaken to the truth. You are consciousness. You are this big circle. You're not small. You're not I'm not Priya, 28, life coach, Indian, lives in England, blah, 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 has a tattoo that says Nitball, okay? I am consciousness. That is my truth. So, if I'm everything that could have been, then yes, it is possible that I was a worm. Not only I was a worm, I am a worm, because everything is me. So technically, every past life of anyone that ever existed is you, because you are everything. There is only you. You are not the wave in the ocean. You are the whole ocean. A past life would be another wave in the ocean, right? Let me draw waves. Ooh, where is my pen? Okay, it's falling. Okay. I don't know why I feel so energized today. Ah! Did it go best? Okay, I'm gonna draw the ocean, okay? Okay? Okay. Right, this is the ocean, okay? That's like the calm ocean, so calm ocean. No, I'm kidding. Okay, that's the ocean, okay? Sorry, if anyone has OCD, I feel like this would be troubling you. No, that's this way. Waves, okay? Look, the ocean, waves. This is you in this lifetime. This is possibly another lifetime. This is you as a worm. This is you as a monkey. But it's all part of the ocean. The wave thinks that it's its own thing. It's like, yeah, I'm just like me. I'm just like so cool. But it's like you're part of the ocean, babe. You're just gonna go back to the ocean. Does that make sense? Oh my god. It needs to take like 5 minutes. Why would someone pray to be born as a worm when human beings are ultimate? Gratitude should be there as human beings. Very true. Thinking human life is ultimate is also ego. Just also very true. Jeez, guys, I know these qualities are inside us. You are born a woman in your previous life. You have a desire for spiritual learning. This is why we're in this life. The politicians who call this word worms. I can't crack. That's hilarious. I said gratitude. Read everything. Okay. Can anyone become God in the next life? VJ, you are a wave in the ocean. You're a wave in the ocean of consciousness, but not like a literal wave, you know. But I pray that you become a wave in the ocean too. But you are a wave in the ocean. You are everything. Oh, can anyone become a god in the next life? Deepak, your truth of who you are, you already are a god. Deepak isn't a god, but who Deepak really is, I don't know, sorry, my accent is going Indian, is God, you know? And thank you, Sampala. Doesn't make sense, right? Sorry, I'm just... You girls... She got a bit too passionate and now it's time to... You guys were funny. Does anyone have any questions before I call it a day? It's been so fun. It's been so fun. When you say, oh God, prove it that. Show us some miracles. Let me think on that one. You know what? Okay. Let's try this out, okay? Because, fine. Wait, you want a truck of chocolates? Jeez, who's gonna eat those all? Let's see if it works. And yeah, how would you define a miracle? Thank you, Chris. Yes, you are a part of God. We all are. Nice, you're almost there. I can't wait for you to come back to me screaming, "Oh my God, Priya, you performed a miracle!" And miracles are happening all the time, guys. The fact that we're even here is a miracle, you know. Do you wear the third eye as Indian? A bindi, you mean, Theo? Yeah. Chris, you see it in my eyes. You see what in my eyes? God? Priya, you were looking like chocolate too. Okay. I believe in the spirit realm. Me too. Yes, Theo, Indians do wear bindis. It's part of their it's to make them aware of their third eye, but also what I learned was that it protects you, I believe, from negative energies. So that's why they used to wear it as well, which is pretty cool. The third eye is this: you are awake and it has a lot of versions. You just need to wait to you and you will find true love. Oh, Chris, that's so cute. Yay! Can you give me a time on that? I'm kidding. Are you psychic? This is so cool. You don't need penance because you claimed. Exactly, you don't need to. You love. Okay. You are psychic. Oh my god, so cool. Tell me more. Gosh, the ego loves hearing about herself. She does. Yeah, you know, that's the whole like, but I gotta go soon. Okay, just Chris, just whatever. Okay, just anything. Just. I feel like I haven't had, like, my sister usually gives me tarot card readings every month, but she straightened my hair for me instead. We return favors, right? So yeah, and then she didn't give it to me, so I'm deprived of a tarot card reading. So Chris, you psychic, nothing happens for, you know, nothing is random. What are you gonna give me? Oh my god, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm taking my chance. I'm shooting my shot. Okay, but you can wear it. There's an older man with you. Oh, okay. Like he loves you. Okay. Is he my grand? Like, is he? Wait. Oh, in the spiritual realm? He loves me. Is he my granddad? He's in spirit. Okay. This is so weird. Oh my god, I've never had this type of reading before. Sorry, I will answer all the comments. Yeah. So he's my granddad. He did pass a while back. Like a year. Hello, Didi. It's been very well since. I know, Gishav. Hi. Chris Budges is on fire. Okay, well, so what's he saying? He loves me. Okay, cool. Good. He was very into his meditation, you know, my granddad. Apparently, like, I found out that he used to sit for like hours in meditation. He's very like in the remembrance of God and stuff like that all the time. Is that a new background? It's a tapestry. Yes. You like it? I do readings myself. Okay, sorry. Am I just? I feel like I'm just squeezing a free reading out of you. I need to tell you something. Okay, tell me. Ah! Before I go, okay. You know what, guys? I actually have a story about psychics and like readings and stuff. Remember to pray is key. Okay. Chris, you know about the praying thing. Sometimes I feel like if I am everything, who am I just praying to myself? You know, so I get kind of, it becomes very perplexing to me. Your spirit will define you. Tell us the story. Okay. I see pain. God, okay. Sorry guys, I will really answer. I see pain in you, okay? You're happy but you hold on to things. Really? Sometimes I feel like I don't. I do feel like I let them. What is this? Maybe I do. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, the story is, okay, so I was working one time, right? At this place, question about prayer in a journey school, and got some amazing answers back about what prayer means to people. Okay. Oh, I'll have to, I haven't even been through the questions yet. Question and find yourself. Okay. So yeah, okay, the story, sorry. Find yourself before you lose yourself. Okay. Thank you, Chris. It's real. Okay. So yeah, the story was that I was at work one time, right? And there was this guy that had come in for a talk. He was this flamboyant there's demons and there's angels teeming with light. I think he got chills. What? There's demons and there's angels teeming with light. What, around me? Okay, yeah. So there was this man that was coming in and I'd seen him, right, walking past, and he'd come and there was just something about his energy. He's what's his name? Gosh, I can't remember, but he's like on TV. He's met Brad Pitt and he was, he's like he was coming in to do a talk on LGBTQ, okay? There was just something about his energy and I just loved him, okay? He came in that day, he was just speaking to us and then he left. And then he came in for his talk and then I saw him and I ran up to him and I said, okay, how was your talk? And he was like, it was great, it was wonderful. And then he starts talking and then we're talking about life, right? So there's another girl who's sitting there who also works there, and she was talking, we were just talking about life and about spirituality and about the truth of life and how important it is to be kind and loving to each other, etc. And then he just told us that he's a psychic medium, and then the girl was talking about a story about how her mom had died, and she had one dream about her mom, and her mom, I can't remember the dream properly, but it was something like her mom was in a cave and it was really dark, and then her mom came up to her and she said, shh, it's all a joke, I'm still here, I'm here, kind of like she knew it was like life was kind of like a joke, like it wasn't real. And she was saying that to her daughter, and then she was saying, how I've only ever had that one dream of my mom. Ever since she died, I've not dreamed about her anymore. And then, oh my god, the psychic medium could see her mom next to him and next to her, and he was saying things like, did she really like a certain type of music? And she was like, yeah. And just they were just saying things, right? He was just picking up on her mom's energy, and I could see in his face, right? And he was like, oh, I don't know whether I want to like do this, like tell you, but he was telling her anyway. And just like I think a message came through from the mom or something like that. I can't remember like for real, like verbatim what it was, but it was the most epic thing I've ever witnessed in my life. Okay, just that whole interaction, I could just see it on his face. I just had that recognition where I looked at him and I just knew that he was sensing something right there, and the energy shifted and I felt super emotional. She was crying because she was like, oh, all I've ever wanted was like to speak to my mom, to connect with my mom, and I just haven't been able to. And he just gave her the confirmation, the validation that she may have needed. He said the reason the mom didn't come into any more of her dreams was because she didn't want her to become dependent upon that, that she had her own life to live. But yeah, that's the story. It was fascinating. I wish I knew, like, I could remember all the details. But it was, I had always seen and watched psychic mediums do this to people in the audience and thought, oh my god, there's a part of you that questions it, right? Like, you're just taught to question these things. because it's too whatever, you know, magic doesn't exist. But when I saw this happening right in front of me, oh my god, it was insane. It was insane. So yeah. Thank you, Chris. There is a lot of mysterious and powerful stuff in this world. That's true. Okay, may God save you. Thank you so much. From what, man? So wait, Chris, you were saying there's a what? There's a demon by me. What was this? No wait, my granddad? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, okay, and tarot, right. I know Greg asked about tarot. So tarot, yeah, see, the thing is, Greg, this wasn't on stage, you know? But yeah, it could be your ego, because of course, everybody is naturally psychic, but how in touch we are with that part of ourselves depends on how sensitive we are to subtle energy, right? These things, like, some people are very, very in tune with themselves, and they can make connections. And like I said, look, I was literally like you, right? I would be like, oh yeah, is this really happening? But I witnessed this in front of my face, you know, and I could no, he wasn't speaking on stage. It was literally at work. He he had gone to do a talk. So it was a corporate building. He'd gone upstairs to do a talk on QT. He came downstairs, and then I said, oh, how was it? You know, tell me about it. And then he sat down. I started asking him, and then this other girl who worked there came, and then she was sitting down, and then the three of us were having a conversation about God, about spirituality. He was talking about how he had had an out-of-body experience as well. He'd left his body. He was talking about you know, he's a psychic medium. Obviously, she hadn't paid him or anything, right? He just could sense that there was an energy around her, and he didn't want to tell her because he was like, I don't want to like thingy, but he kind of knew that she really wanted to hear it, and like she would have done well with hearing it. So he told her, like, you know, like things that only she knew about, like her mom was really funny, she liked a specific type of music, she would say certain things like that. And yeah, my granddad he passed, was it like 2 years ago? It's really interesting because, you know, I never really had a relationship with him, Chris. He lived in India, and I lived in England most of my life. Well, yeah, most of my life, 20 years. And then because he didn't really used to treat my grandma very nicely, so it kind of affected how I felt about him, I guess. I didn't really understand him, and I didn't have a relationship with him, but obviously I found out he was very like spiritual and stuff, like spiritually inclined. But of course, people have loads of aspects to themselves, right? And I don't know, like his relationship with my grandma is like something that only they know about. I don't know what the ins and outs were of that. So it's really interesting that he's with me. It's interesting. Yeah. Am I Indian? Yes, I am Indian. A secret should be told to someone who can handle it, not the one who doesn't know. He loves me. That's the message. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. That's sweet. But yeah, tarot card reading. Okay, Greg, I love to get them because the way I see it, so tarot cards are a form of divination, right? To connect with the divine. Nothing is random, right? So that's what I tell myself. Nothing is random. So the cards being picked, the words being said, the people on this chat right now, everything is so specific because life is so you know, like specific. It's not random. It's very intentional, created by the creator. It's an extension of ourselves. We are constantly, you know, in a relationship with it. So with the cards being picked, like the thing that this is leaning on right now is a box of tarot cards that I have. So yeah, tarot cards, I just say, you know, I ask source to say, please, can you just give me the message that I need? But it's never like I'm dependent on the message. I need it to work out. If there's a bad message, I'll believe in it. Nothing like that. I'll just I'll take it for what it is. I'll listen to it. It's a little bit of fun for me, and then I let it go, kind of thing. And then what happens. Does that make sense? Yeah, it's already written. Do you believe souls wander on earth after physical body is dead? See, I don't know about that. Maybe. I don't I don't rule anything out. Everything is possible. I have no idea. You know, it would be egotistical for me to think, oh, yes, I know. I don't know. But I do believe that, yeah, our family visits us spiritually. Yeah, so of course, you know, our loved ones are always with us. There's a really good book called Signs. So if anybody has someone that's passed over, maybe really recently, and you find it difficult to cope, Signs is a really good book. The lady tells you like how there are different signs that you get, and stuff. Has anyone proved it? We always need proof, don't we? Science has done us so over. Like, we always need proof of things. If you just believe it, it's enough. That's the proof. You believe it, you see it. I don't know. I can't wait to tell my mom about my granddad. She probably won't believe it. I don't know. We'll see. It's already written from the time of our birth itself. The random choices or illusions, see if it goes in choosing it actively. That's interesting. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Let it be a mystery, you know. It's more fun that way. And I look into tarot with an open mind. Okay, good. Open mind is always a good place to start, right? Sorry, someone says something. Why do Indians who stay abroad take care of themselves really well? I know Indians who stay in India and take care of themselves really well. Like, the vibe that married women in India give off, like, girl, oh my god, they look so good. And now I get it why my mom always used to say, don't wear red lipstick, don't wear, you know, you can't be too done up before you're married. Because I saw when they're married, they're like, jeez, they look good. I feel that you can bring someone's essence of spirit to be with you if you give it true intent, like meditating, giving intent to with you. Like, yes, that's very true. You know, I watched a video, Greg, where I said that when you think of her, she's there. It's pretty cool, right? Because she's in thought, so she's present. She's in mind, right? Believe in the beauty of your dreams. Love that. Soul was from day one. Yes. You know, it's really interesting, guys. We were talking about reincarnation, right? Reincarnating as a human being. But think about reincarnating and like the lifetimes you've had beyond being a human being. So, of course, we spoke about being an alien, but even before that, about just being, you know, how interesting is that? What's your view? What happens after death? I saw Keanu Reeves interview. He said those you love stay, they will miss you. Yeah. What happens after death? See, the thing is, death is not death the way that we think it is. Death is going back into pure consciousness, right? And there are so many ways to think about this. I don't know. Of course, there are things like reincarnation. There could be something like going back to pure consciousness, or, you know, these loads of different possibilities. But it's a mystery to me. I don't know. Priya has no idea. You know, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But there's this really interesting book called In Between Souls or something like that, which talks about what happens when you die. Obviously, that's his experience, but he's saying like the process of what happens. And it made me really excited for death. I'm not scared to die. I'm like, bring it on, baby. Can't wait. So excited, you know? I'm lost resting now. I'm listening, only ask your questions, everybody. Okay. Yeah, you take a rest, honey. Death, you will go into heaven and spirit realm. Spirit knows more than the human brain can comprehend. Exactly. The spirit definitely knows more than the human brain cannot comprehend. That's why I don't even attempt to answer questions. I'm like, let it be, let someone else do the work. How many times have you visited India, Dee? I have visited India, okay, once, twice. Well, I was born in India. And then I moved out from India when I was 3. So does that count? I visited when I was born. I won't count that one. Okay, so once, twice, and then 5 times. But I went for quite a while sometimes. Yeah, you enjoy your food. You enjoy your food. God is an energy, and we give God His light back. Yeah, God is everything, right? We give His light back. Do I remember you? Yes, I remember you, Vishal. Welcome back. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of a break as well. Sorry, guys. I'm just gonna. Now I'm in formal question. When are you gonna marry? I don't know, Deepak. I don't know if I ever will, to be honest. Do you have any interest left there? Like, if you got a chance to have a trip to India, which states would you go to? Okay, if I had a chance to go to India. So I just came back from India, Keshav, a few months ago. I'm not drinking from a vase. It's a copper bowl I got from India, and copper is really good for you. So you should put water in there, let it marinate, and then drink it after 24 hours. And then it will be infused with copper. So yeah, it's not a vase. It's a copper thing. Copper, I don't know what they call it. But okay, if I would love to go to all Indian states. Okay, maybe not all of them. I don't know. I've not really thought about which one specifically. Maybe I would like to go up north, like near the Himalayas and stuff like that. There was Guru Pashupati is a guru that I really like that lives in Bangalore, so I wanted to go Bangalore. I came, yeah, Keshav, I came May, June. I came June, the end of June. Come to Tamil Nadu. You know, I would come to Tamil Nadu. I love Tamil films. Say something about human eyes. Okay, so human eyes, they say, are the eyes to the window. You can really see everything in someone's eyes, right? Where's the best place to go get a copper vessels? Do you have any recommendations? Thank you for that question. Yes, I do actually. Go to an Indian shop, like an Indian shop where they sell where they not food but items, like household items, like cutlery and bowls and things like that. They tend to have them there. You could order it online. There's actually copper water bottles that they do now where you can put your water. So rather than having a normal plastic water bottle, you could just have it in there. Hi, Dana. This is a nice name, Dana. And just pop it in there and drink it. But yeah, I love Tamil Nadu movies because they always have such a deep meaning to them, you know? Oh, by the way, I just looked at the Myers-Briggs test. Has anyone done the Myers-Briggs personality test? And if you have, what did you get? What are you? Is that water in your eyes? I'm not joking. You can see a mirror. Oh, it's this screen? Is that what you're seeing? Is that water in your eyes? I don't know. You can see a mirror. Can you see a mirror? I don't know. I'm not crying. Wait, oh, is it? I'm not crying. Is it the screen? I don't know. INFJ. Okay, INFJ. My sister's INFJ, I think. Yeah, my twin sister. I'm ENFJ. ENFJ? ENFJ, yes, that's the one. I used copper bottle, but I got throat irritation, so I stopped using it. Oh no. What's a good job you stopped? Is the Vahe too overwhelming? The Vahe too... Why? The chat. Never that. Not today anyways. Not. Sometimes it can be overwhelming when there are loads of people like commenting, but no, it's okay today. It's wonderful today. Not that we should aim to label things or go towards pleasure or away from pain or anything like that, but you know, no, it's wonderful. I'm not crying. I don't know why it looks like that. Is she fine? They don't even feel watery. I think it's just the light, maybe. INFJ. Take a guess, VJ. I don't know. I'm not really too familiar with them, so maybe do you seem like an introvert? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe IN something? INFJ. Oh, yeah, okay. You are the INFJ, Priya. Okay, interesting. The INFJ would be classed as wait, let me take this. Why am I like straining my eyes, please? Okay. INFJ. Where would be like I'm classed as a protagonist. So what would you be? Your hair is healthy, long hair. Thank you. Guardian personality. Oh, interesting. Okay. This is about breaks. I wonder what they were. Advocate, guardian. Interesting. It doesn't have the guardian on there. I don't know why. Oh, sorry. I think I should call it a day, guys. I think I'm in due for some rest, you know. It's been a pleasure. Truly, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining. It's always a pleasure. Thank you for giving your time to lead these lives. It's my sad thing. I was a little bit ahead. It's been what also sense. Oh yay! Oh, I'm glad, Greg. Thank you for joining. When you do, it's so cute. Oh, it's cute. Is that your signature? I don't know. No one created God. No one created God. God existed before time. It's I don't know. Deepak, are you aware of Sikhism, like the Mool Mantar? Ek oankar Satnam Karta Purkh Nirbhaw Nirvair Akal Murad Ajuni Seb Bang Guru Prasad Jap Ad Sach Jugad Sach Happy Sach Nanak Hosi Pi Sach. He was true before the creation. He was true when the ages commenced. He's true now. He will always be true. Mustard be tired. Mustard be. Get some iron. Too much copper made of display of the iron. You've lost. Good to see you. The next schedule, please. I'm not sure. Maybe tomorrow, okay? Maybe tomorrow after like 2 p.m. England time. God was always there. Namaste. Take care, everybody. I love you. He's Awal first. He's Akira last. Okay, Awal first. He's Akira. Love that. Thank you all for your participation. Okay. Participation. Okay. Goodbye. Good night.